Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we are going to be talking about Ripple and XRP, as well as the vast majority of crypto and finance. And you know what's funny is we are finally seeing things come up that really make you question everything. Because for the longest time, you've had people from the Bitcoin scene and from the Ethereum scene calling XRP this, XRP that. You even had Vitalik Buterin talking about how XRP is a trash coin and how, XRP's, this, that. And here we have from Steven Neryoff, he's saying, turns out Vitalik Buterin, aka Crypto Judas, secretly wants to be XRP, but he's so shy he deleted his tweet, which is in this article, stating that XRP is better sound money than Bitcoin. Now that I've outed him, he can be free to be he, she, or XRP. And here is the deleted post. So you see, this is the ideal stablecoin and store of value. You may not like it, but this is what peak sound money looks like. And it's talking about Bitcoin. It got posted back in 2019. Now, we do see from Vitalik Buterin, I think you want to use XRP. The chart for XRP, meaning XRP pair, would look the same, so it's also sound money. But they have institutional adoption and partnership, so they're better. Very interesting. Now, we already know that Vitalik Buterin did work at Ripple for a little bit of time, and a lot of people actually speculate that they stole a lot of code. But beyond this, we already know that XRP is better than Bitcoin. But we also know XRP is better than Ethereum, which we will get to here in a second. But like I've said, as we actually see this space for what it is, we know the underlying tech stack behind these projects truly matters. Like I said, time to settlement and the cost is so crucial. We're not even bringing energy usage into it. Those two statistics alone, time to settlement and cost, makes XRP the clear winner. We also have this video, which is very interesting because this is December of 2014. This is from Nerd Nation Unbox. Vitalik Buterin says Ethereum is not the internet of value. Ripple is the internet of value. Check this out.
That's really what Ethereum is. People talk a lot about cryptocurrency 2.0 being like the internet of value. We're not the internet of value. Ripple is the internet of value. We're an arbitrary processor for state transaction.
So there you guys have it, right? And when we look at the internet of value, yeah, it would never be Ethereum. Why? Because the internet of value is about moving value at the same speed that information moves today. Can you do that with Ethereum? Can you do that with Bitcoin? The answer is no, you can't. So it's obviously not Ethereum. But hearing it from Vitalik Buterin, and even seeing this tweet and this post regarding XRP versus Bitcoin, it's very interesting because he changed his tune back in 2020. But outside of this, we also have this response. Vitalik idea for Ethereum came from Ripple Codius. He front run when he left Ripple. This child was set up, and this is where things get very interesting, as a figurehead and marketed as a false prophet, taking from the masses, holding back crypto for the fraudulent personal gain of him and his cohorts. He will be exposed as the fraud he is, as will others. I understated it when I said SBF times infinity. And he's talking about Sam Bankman-Fried. This is very interesting. It's also a wild statement because beyond this, we already know how much fraud and corruption has been going on behind the scenes with Ethereum. But I also do think that Vitalik has been has been marketed as this prophet behind, Ethereum, and how, Vitalik is this, Vitalik is that. If you actually look at Vitalik versus SBF, there's a lot of things in common. Just from the overall demeanor of these two individuals and the way that they act and the way that they present themselves, they're very, very similar. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. I'm just saying that they are very similar individuals. So I could definitely see the comparison here, but also when you look at all the players that were tied to Ethereum, it seems as though Vitalik was just a small player behind this. But beyond this as well, Charles Hoskinson has been making the rounds within this community. And remember that Charles Hoskinson was also one of the original creators of Ethereum. He's saying, and shout out to Jungle Inc. for this, he's saying that Ethgate was simply unequal application, which he doesn't see anything wrong with. What? He believes that none of the commission's actions presupposes corruption, but only favoritism? Where is this guy getting his information? This is a wild statement as well. And we see from David Schwartz, he's saying, I would argue that a government actor showing favoritism aligned with the personal interest of themselves and their friends is corruption. Then we see a response from Metaman X. And this is where all the puzzle pieces fall into place on why the tune changed around XRP and why we started to see a big focus on Ripple and XRP during this time as well. Check this out.
Consensus has been very prominent since the start of the Ethereum ecosystem. I can attest that JP Morgan was there right from the start before public mainnet was even launched.
And this is where it's all extremely clear. JP Morgan was there since day one. Very interesting. And this is from Joseph Lubin himself. Another piece, right? He's one of the creators, just like Charles Hoskinson. JP Morgan is the key here. But again, why would Charles Hoskinson be saying this? This is from Nerd Nation Unbox. We do see from 2 days ago. Charles says, we have yet, this is 2 days ago, by the way. But this is actually from a little bit of time ago. This is October 10th. But you see, Charles says, we have yet to provide any evidence that someone in the Ethereum circle bribed or convinced someone in the SEC to go after Ripple and XRP. Listen closely to this.
How do you feel about Ethgate and how Cardano is the solution to these types of problems? What's the most interesting thing about Ethgate is we've always been talking about two separate things entirely. And there's never a reconciliation because there's never an acknowledgement that we're talking about two separate things. When they talk about Ethgate on the other side of the aisle, they're talking about, okay, people use connections and relationships and perhaps money to convince insiders in the government to go easy on Ethereum. Probably happened. Who knows? Hard to say. There's obviously a lot of people digging in that well. And it's like, does a bear shit in the woods? So you're telling me T-Mobile, when it wants to buy Sprint, doesn't find ways to make the FCC and the FTC and others a little happier about that. That's how America does business. It's wrong. It shouldn't happen, but that's how that happens. And we're surprised that our own industry started learning that Joe Lubin figured some stuff out. Okay. I mean, let's be real about it. We're adults. We can have a real conversation. I know the media can't, and I know we're not supposed to say these things, but I always try to just keep it honest with you because I just don't give a shit anymore. That happens. And you know what? If you've discovered evidence of it, hopefully somebody somewhere can do something about it. So that's usually what they talk about with Ethgate. And then I said one thing, just one thing, grand conspiracy, which is the other thing. And that other thing is people from the Ethereum side bribed the Securities Exchange Commission to go after XRP. These are very different things. It's one thing to use relationships to protect your own thing. It's another thing to use relationships in a conspiracy to attack a competitor. Now, the vast majority of people who talk Ethgate are over here, and that's what they're talking about. Very few are over here. And if they are, then I'd say, what evidence do you have of that? Where are the emails? Where are the meetings? All these other things. Like, I could imagine some guys getting together, eating some steak and drinking some wine, saying, hey, maybe we should make Ethereum not a security. I can imagine that conversation happening. I don't understand how you have any evidence that the conversation was also, oh, and by the way, while you're at it, we're so scared of XRP, a system at the time that doesn't even have smart contracts, that has nothing to do with our business model and serves different customers. Can you say they're a security and go after them? Wouldn't the very act of weaponizing the SEC to do that create blowback that could potentially cause Ethereum to get hit and impacted? Doesn't that expose all the stuff you're trying to do? Doesn't that dilute your entire goal of making Ethereum not a security to also do that? Are you so scared of XRP?
And this statement actually by him is very interesting because remember, the reason why these people are talking about Ethgate and basically saying that it's made up, it's nonsense, this is one of the original founders as well of Ethereum. Like, do you honestly think he's going to say, oh yeah, Ethereum and Ethgate, like, yeah, it's real? Also, remember, the reason why Ripple and XRP got targeted isn't because that we're challenging the Ethereum technology. No, we were challenging the individual behind Ethereum, Jamie Dimon, with his, child, JP Morgan. They didn't want it to lose. And Ethereum, well, we already know all the ties back to Ethereum with JP Morgan and all of the big incumbents. We also know that, JP Morgan is in bed with the regulators. So it wouldn't be that hard to say, hey, let's go after Ripple and XRP, target Ripple and XRP, kill their business model because they have been, dominating the payment space. They've been, killing the game, if you will, and trying to create this level playing field, which, by the way, we're going to expand on this here in a second. But this is what these individuals are saying. Like, they think that none of this exists, even though so many people from the community, well over, thousands of people from the community have put together tons and tons of information regarding Ethgate and confirming it. But listen closely.
That's going to happen? Really? You really believe that? Oh, if you do, you're a crazy person in my book. And that's when I say grand conspiracy, I'm talking just about that. I don't care about the other side of it because it's not surprising to me. If it's true, if it's not true, okay. What's it have to do with the price of tea in China? And now for almost a year and a half, we've been talking about this. Seriously, we've been talking about this. It still comes up. And people on Twitter, anytime like the Ripple wins something against the SEC, they're like, do you believe us? No. We're not even talking about the same thing. You have yet once to give any evidence whatsoever that a single meeting has happened where somebody in the Ethereum circuits bribed or gave money or convinced a member of the SEC to go after XRP.
So there you guys have it. And, when we look back in time, let's go all the way back to March of 2022. This goes back well over a year ago. Consensus lawsuit reveals JP Morgan owns critical Ethereum infrastructure. Fast forward to June of this year. Best-selling author claims JP Morgan, Federal Reserve, and Ethereum colluded to harm XRP. Now let me ask you this. Why wouldn't JP Morgan, who apparently owns critical Ethereum infrastructure, why wouldn't they want Ripple and XRP to be targeted? Remember, XRP was the number 2 asset for a while. XRP was becoming a dominant force even in 2022, or sorry, not in 2022, in 2020, leading up to the big move in 2021, but again, got stopped right in its tracks due to the SEC lawsuit. And we also know that from recently with the FTX situation, we know that they were actually keeping the price under 20K for Bitcoin. Now, this is the largest crypto asset, and FTX was actually utilizing traders' Bitcoin to keep the price under 20K. Let me ask you this. If they can manipulate Bitcoin and keep Bitcoin under 20K, don't you think that they can manipulate any coin in the space? And I'm not talking about FTX. I'm talking about, major players that we know about. We can't say names, but we know about. Do you honestly think that they couldn't manipulate the price of XRP and suppress it? I mean, XRP got suppressed for 2.5 years due to the SEC lawsuit. But then we also see a response from Steven Arioff to this response by David Schwartz. And he says, well said. Sometimes it's to eliminate a competitor they can't fairly compete with. Other times it's to imprison someone who could unravel those very plans. They miscalculated our determination to fight back and win despite being sucker punched and playing in their rigged system. I'm telling you right now, the truth is coming out. And there's a lot of information regarding this. I don't care what Charles Hoskinson thinks. He could think that Ethgate is some made-up conspiracy. It's ridiculous to think that with how much information has been released. But when we really look at the players who have been backing the Hinman speech, that have been backing Ethereum, it is clear that JP Morgan is one of the major players behind Ethereum and Ethgate. And remember that the regulators will listen to JP Morgan. How do we know this? Because they literally cried wolf to the SEC back in March leading up to May, saying that they wanted short selling of banking stocks to be banned. And guess what? The regulators listened. When we look at the facts here, it's extremely clear that there has been a ton of corruption, a ton of fraud. Steven Arioff has been a key player behind a lot of what we have already seen released in terms of information. And it's only going to continue to get worse and worse as well for Ethereum and Ethgate and all the players tied to Ethgate. Again, they can call it a conspiracy. They could say that it doesn't exist. But we know, as XRP holders, we know what really happened behind the scenes. And we also know that XRP has been suppressed. And who knows, XRP could very well still be, suppressed right now. The best way to suppress XRP is to also suppress Bitcoin. Because right now we are in a Bitcoin-driven market. The big question is, can they suppress XRP in a utility-driven market? Because those days are coming when we are actually in a utility-driven market. I question if, when we are in a utility-driven market, if the truth will come out value-wise around XRP. Because I really do look forward to that day. But outside of all of this, to see all the information that we have seen, and to think that this is just some made-up theory and that, Ethgate is really not real, is wild to me. But it makes sense on why Charles Hoskinson would be saying, hey, no, Ethgate, it's fake. There's no information. There's no proof. Because this is one of the original founders as well. But with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the Discord down in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Peace out.